He's a Super Bowl winner. He's a legend. He is head coach Jon Gruden is with us. Coach, how are you?
I'm doing great. Great hearing your voices. Thanks for having me on.
It's great to talk to you. And before we get into all the football conversation, where did this whole, we were celebrating you unboxing that giant box that the Seattle Mariners sent you, and you're sitting there wearing the Cal Raleigh Big Dumper chest protector, and you're pulling out all this gear, and Lou Piniella's in the room with you, and it's turned into this huge event. Where did this originate?
Well, Barstool Sports has a lot of crazy employees, great young guys that they have minds for this stuff. I had Jason Candle, the head coach at Toledo, the head football coach, came, and we just studied football for a day and a half. And about a week later, out of his appreciation, I guess, he sent me a box of Toledo Rocket football gear. And my assistant from Barstool, Jake Malisak, said, let's film that and let's put it out there. Well, the next day, the Cincinnati Bearcats sent a bigger box, and then the floodgates opened, man. We were getting boxes from college teams, and we got them from hockey teams, and it was exciting, man, to get one from the Seattle Mariners.
Have you been following them a little bit more closely since you got your box?
Oh, they're 53 and 46. We're 4 games behind the freaking Astros in the division. Are we going to get it going or what?
That's what we're wondering.
You just made 1 million new fans out here, Coach.
Yeah, no, I love baseball. I love, Lou Piniella. He's my neighbor here in Tampa, and we talk about the old days in Seattle, the great memories that he had. And I was a good baseball player in high school. I thought that was going to be my calling card until I moved to Florida and realized how good these pitchers are. But I love following baseball. And as a matter of fact, the Tampa Bay Rays, our hometown here, team is neck and neck with you guys for that wild card spot. So certainly keeping an eye on the Mariners.
Well, that it was cool to see for everybody out here. I think you know that Lou is a legend. He's royalty out here. So to see him in that video was even cooler. Is he literally next door to you? Is he down the street and you just said, hey, come unbox this Seattle Mariners stuff with me? And all of a sudden he's walking around with a batting glove on and holding a bat. And how did that work?
That's exactly how it happened. He lives basically 100 yards from my house. I just called him up, see if he was there. He came right over, and there he was. It's like a movie when you get around Lou Piniella. Some of the stories that he can tell, not only from Seattle, but from his Yankee days and his playing days. And, he helped Dan Wilson, I think. I know he recommended Dan Wilson to be the manager of the Mariners. And it was just really cool having him here talking about the history of this Seattle Mariner baseball team.
Bob says if he calls you son, that means you're in trouble.
At least it was with me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I play golf sometimes. I'm his partner. He calls me a lot worse than son. Let me point that out.
Hey, Coach. So, you look at this the Seahawks team going into camp starting on Wednesday, and really, if you look at it offensively, it's kind of a teardown, right? You got a new offensive coordinator, you got a bunch of new coaches, you got new quarterback, new receivers. Do you think that system is something that, that they're running? Is that something that can be picked up quickly, or do you think maybe it might take a while?
I don't know Coach Macdonald. I know he's a defensive coach, and I was quite shocked, really, that they fired their offensive coordinator after 1 year. But as you said, they changed quarterbacks, changed coordinators, and let's hope they change results. They got rid of DK Metcalf, bring in Cooper Kupp, completely different kind of a receiver than what they have had there with Lockett, who's gone also, and Metcalf. So I would assume Clint Kubiak's going to run the ball. I know they drafted an offensive guard in the first round, so hopefully the offensive line comes around a little bit. But they're an unknown, really, on offense. I do know this. Defensively, they got some guys now that can really get after you. But offensively, I think it's going to be a work in progress, and this training camp is critical for them.
Hey, Coach, when you're looking at somebody like Sam Darnold, who's sort of written his story over the first 6 years of his career, and it wasn't great, obviously, and then all of a sudden he has the year that he had last year, and it's just the polar opposite of what he's ever been, except for the final 2 games that unfortunately had the most consequence attached to him. As a guy that evaluates talent and has done it over year after year the way you have, which do you believe? When you look at him, do you go, okay, he's that guy now, or no, he's still that guy of the previous 6 years? How do you view a guy like Sam Darnold?
Well, I have an opinion on Sam at USC. I liked him at USC. I thought he's got the size, he's got the intangibles, he's athletic. He is tough, man. And I thought he got the hell beat out of him in New York. He went to Carolina, got his brains beat in again, and he took advantage of his opportunity in Minnesota and put him in the playoffs, for crying out loud. And I was shocked that after that performance, he's gone. I don't know what's going on in the NFL, man. Let me put it that way. Baker Mayfield, he's been on his fourth team. He's as good a quarterback as there is in the league right now. And Darnold throws for 40 touchdowns, takes you to the playoffs in his first year, by the way, and you let him leave. So I don't know what's coming out of the bag of Clint Kubiak's play selection. I don't know how it's going to work, but I know this. He's experienced. He's got size and strength and toughness. He's a smart guy. I wish I had Darnold when I was coaching.
Hey, the guy we talk about probably the most on this team, Coach, is Devon Witherspoon. And I'm just curious if you've got a chance to look at him, just because, I played with Kenny Easley and Steve Atwater and some, really good defensive backs, but there's just something different about that kid. Do you see that? And what is it about him that makes him – he doesn't have great stats last year, but, man, if you see him play, he's just electric.
You know what? At Barstool Sports, we have access to a lot of players. And we were at the Super Bowl this past season, and my assistant, Jake Malasek, says, who would you like to talk to? I said, I'd like to meet this Witherspoon guy. He reminds me of Hall of Famer Rondé Barber that we had in Tampa. He is a savage. I mean, this is a badass now. This is an excellent football player. He loves the briar patch, I call it, from tight end to tight end. Most defensive backs don't like going in there. He loves to go in the B gap, the C gap, and he will knock you down, man. This is a vicious tackling corner. He's got some coverage ability. I just think this guy's got a huge upside, and I expect him to be blitzed more. I think Coach Macdonald's going to have a lot for this young cornerback to do. I love his playing style, and he is the kind of guy we could win a championship with, no doubt.
Hey, Coach, looking at this team, Dave and myself, we've been looking at him going, this was a top 10 defense, top 5 defense the second half of the season last year. They made some moves with their linebackers, and they made a big switch, and they bring Ernest Jones over, and it was just a completely different defense. So now you get a full season of that, yet I understand all the change on the offensive side. It seems that the national voices are looking at this team, and I think Vegas set their win total at 7.5 is the over-under. Dave and I are looking at it going, I don't get it. This feels like a decidedly better team than that, but I guess, is that, in your mind, all of the uncertainty on the offensive side of the ball? Do you view this as a playoff team, or do you look at this as a rebuilding team?
Well, I think defensively they have the pieces to be outstanding. I think you got to look at your defense and only measure your defense against the best offenses. And, you saw them against Detroit. They gave up 42 points. I know they had some injuries up front. And then Green Bay came to Seattle and really got after them, I think. They moved the ball up and down the field, and I thought Minnesota had a lot of success in Seattle. They lost some home games uncharacteristically, but I think until they go out and solve the top offenses, you got to be hesitant to say this is a great defense.
If you were going to sort of explain what they do defensively and what's different about it, because Macdonald's had a ton of success, what would you say, Coach, that would sort of sum up what they do that's different in the NFL than other teams?
Well, I think what they want to do is do what they did in Baltimore. They'd like to be really good on the early downs and stop the run. They want to be a very good run-stuffing defense, get you behind the chains, and let Coach Macdonald rev up some of his designer blitzes. He's got some great packages that are disguises where he's showing blitz, and they'll come out of it, and then they're not showing it, and here they come. They do a great job of mixing blitzes and disguises, bluffs and dogs, but they got to win on the early downs and take the running game out of it. And if they can do that, they'll be in business. But it's a multiple playbook. They can play a lot of different looks, and I think they need a guy like Ernest Jones, an experienced linebacker who can make the calls, because I think they have some automatics against certain formations on every opponent that they see. I think they do a great job specifically planning for each individual offense.
Hey, Coach, when you look at this NFC West division, who stands out to you? Do you look at it as the Niners? Now they're going to be healthy. They were injured last year. The Rams obviously have a ton of talent. How do you see the West shaking out?
Well, I think what they want to do is do what they did in Baltimore. They want to be a very good run-stuffing defense, get you behind the chains, and let Coach Macdonald rev up some of his designer blitzes. He's got some great packages that are disguises where he's showing blitz, and they'll come out of it, and then they're not showing it, and here they come. They do a great job of mixing blitzes and disguises, bluffs and dogs, but they got to win on the early downs and take the running game out of it. And if they can do that, they'll be in business. But it's a multiple playbook. They can play a lot of different looks, and I think they need a guy like Ernest Jones, an experienced linebacker who can make the calls, because I think they have some automatics against certain formations on every opponent that they see. I think they do a great job specifically planning for each individual offense. Well, I don't know what the 49ers are health-wise. I know Trent Williams, he's a critical part of that team at left tackle. Ayuk was hurt last year. McCaffrey was hurt. They had a lot of injuries. And defensively, they are a different team in the front seven. They still have Fred Warner. They still have Bosa, but they got to break in some young players. They're not the team they were, but I still think the 49ers are the best team in the West if McCaffrey and Ayuk and those guys come back healthy, Trent Williams. I think Seattle is closing in. I just don't know much about what they're doing at quarterback with the system in Darnold. I'm anxious to see how it looks. They revamped their receiving core. I know they can run the ball. Arizona's a mystery to me. I never know what Kyler Murray's doing. I mean, it could be a play that lasts 14 seconds. It looks like a broken play offense. I have no idea. It could be a spectacular highlight, or it could be, oh, my God. I just have no idea. I have a hard time watching Arizona, honestly, because I get a stomach ache by halftime. And then the Rams, the Rams with Matt Stafford, let's be honest, Matt Stafford, he can make throws that nobody else can. I mean, you can be in perfect coverage. He can make 2 or 3 throws on any given Sunday and win a game for you. And now with Devontae Adams and Nakua on the same team, I really have a feeling the Rams are going to win the West. I think the 49ers and Seattle are going to compete for a playoff spot. And I think Arizona is just a little too helter-skelter for me to put in that bunch.
Hey, back to the 49ers for a quick second, Coach. What did you think of the Brock Purdy deal? Did you like that? Are you a believer in him, or do you look at him as, well, he succeeds in that system, but he's not that type of quarterback to earn that kind of money? What do you think?
You know what? That's a great question. I think they should put a statue of Brock Purdy in their parking lot. I mean, he saved this franchise. People forget, they used 3 first-round draft choices to draft Trey Lance from North Dakota State. You remember that?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we make sure we keep that one fresh.
I don't know if Trey Lance completed 5 passes for the 49ers. And here's a guy that's the last pick of the draft. He comes in there, and he is an excellent scrambler. For the most part, he takes care of the ball. He's a creative player. He's a really good player. And if his weapons are healthy, he can really be a hell of a quarterback. So I think they rewarded him. I don't know that he's going to be one of the top 4 or 5 quarterbacks in the league, but I think they paid him for his service and for saving and putting this team on the brink of being in the championship game.
Yeah, that's a great point, and we bring up that Trey Lance trade all the time because we hate the 49ers. But, hey, Coach, what do you think about offensive line play just in general? And I guess I'm an old school guy. I feel like, when they sort of cut down the hitting days that, you really can only practice, there's not a lot of contact. And, do you think offensive line play in general has kind of taken a little bit of a step back? And is it because of that, do you think? Or is it just because what you got coming out of some of the systems in college?
Well, I think the game has totally changed from the points you just brought up. You don't wear pads. You don't have padded practices. You're not allowed to have 2-a-days, et cetera, et cetera. Everybody's in a 2-point stance. You don't even see a 3-point stance anymore, for crying out loud, not even on 1st and 10. Yeah. When you see one, you should tell your concession people to hand out a free beer or a free bag of popcorn if you see a 3-point stance. But, everybody's running the tight zone plays or the wide zone plays, combination blocking, and these run-pass options, man. You see it Friday night at your local high school. You see it all day Saturday in the NCAA, and now you're seeing it Sunday. A lot of people think that's a play-action pass. These are running plays where the quarterback is pulling the ball and throwing a built-in pass to a bubble screen or whatever. But to your point, there's not a lot of rock'em sock'em double teams and old gap schemes that you're accustomed to seeing, and it's disappointing. I don't think they service the running backs either. I used to love to see a running back 7.5, 8 yards deep, Adrian Peterson, Earl Campbell, whoever, Mike Allstott, and a reverse pivot and a downhill attack towards the line of scrimmage. But everything is kind of evolving now into this single-back RPO world, and I call it ridiculous protection offense because I get sick of looking at it.
Well, Coach, you still have a ton of fire in you. Is it still something you want to do? Do you want to coach again, or does the game today look at it and go, that's not my world anymore? How do you view coaching in football?
No, I'm planning on coaching again. I always prepare to coach. I'm going to a couple training camps. I've already been to a couple mini camps. We have a lot of coaches and players coming through here. I don't know what life has ahead of me, but I'm preparing, as always, to coach. And if I have to adapt when I do, I'll adapt when I do. But in the meantime, I'm having a blast here with Barstool, and I've met a lot of really cool people.
Coach, I'll put you on the spot here a little bit. Who are some of the best players that you ever coached, or can you identify one? I don't want to, make it a small number, because I'm kind of like picking your favorite child, right? But who are some of the best players that you will remember from the rest of your life?
The best player I ever coached is going into the Hall of Fame this year. His name is Sterling Sharp of the Green Bay Packers. He only played 6 or 7 years. But Sterling Sharp, I named my son after him. They called him Deuce because he was number 2 at South Carolina. This guy could play quarterback, strong safety, middle linebacker, tight end, wide receiver, or any position on the team. He was unbelievable. Playing strength, intelligence, competitiveness. Sterling Sharp would be my favorite guy. Jerry Rice would be right up there. But, when you win a Super Bowl, you got to say Sapp, you got to say Brooks, you got to say Barber and Lynch, the Hall of Famers. And my quarterbacks, I spent my whole life with Rich Gannon and Brad Johnson and Derek Carr. So those are the guys, but there's so many on both sides of the ball. But there's a list of some guys that I'd have on my wall here in the FFCA where I work.
Hey, Coach, is there a team or a player you look at today that you're like, I don't care what's going on, this is must watch. I need to see this team. I need to see this player do his thing or their thing.
You know what? I like watching Andy Reid's teams play. Andy and I coached together at Green Bay. We have a similar upbringing from Mike Holmgren, one of the ex-Seattle greats. I just love watching how he puts together a game plan, some of the creativity he has in the red zone, in short yardage. And I like watching Pat Mahomes play. I think he's amazing. And I think if they get that receiving core healthy and this young left tackle comes through, I think we'll once again see Kansas City in the Super Bowl.
You know him, you love him. He is the legend, head coach extraordinaire, Jon Gruden, with us. And he didn't say anything, but I think it's clear he's been wearing the Cal Raleigh chest protector the entire time we've been speaking with him. So
hey, man, you like that, don't you? I want to know, are we going to trade? Are we trading for the Suarez guy in Arizona? What are we doing? Are we going to make a trade here?
Everybody out here is hoping so, but trying to predict what the Mariners do at trade deadline time is always a sketchy adventure at best. We're not sure, but that's...
Yeah, but I know you guys have information. I need some information, man. Are we going to... What's the deal? Is our pitcher, Gilbert, going to come back this year, or is he out for the year?
No, he's back, but Miller's out right now, Bryce Miller. So he's expected to be back hopefully in a few weeks. Gilbert is back. So hopefully the rotation's going to get back to what it was last year, and we'll be talking about a playoff version of the Seattle Mariner team.
Okay, well, let's all three of us get together again when the Rays play the Mariners, man. Let's get together and have a little trash talking.
Oh, we'll do it. We'll do it. Coach, we thank you so much for your time, man. Appreciate it very much, and hopefully we are talking when it's the Rays and the Mariners getting down to business.
Yeah, same here. Thanks for letting me come on. Stay in touch, guys. Appreciate you.